It was a quiet December night in Benicia, California. Two teenagers, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were on their first date, parked on a lonely lane. Suddenly, another car pulled up. A man stepped out, and in a flash, their lives were ended. The police were baffled. No motive, no suspect. The case went cold. Months later, on July 4th, another couple was attacked in Vallejo. Darlene Ferrin was killed. Michael Magot survived and described a heavy-set attacker. Fear spread. The attacks were linked. A pattern was emerging. This was no random violence. The killer targeted young couples in secluded spots, turning safe places into scenes of horror. Police in different towns faced the same faceless phantom. Who was he? Why was he doing this? The answer arrived unexpectedly, through the mail. On August 1, 1969, 3 letters landed in Bay Area newsrooms. The author took credit for the shootings, sharing details only the killer could know. He was announcing himself to the world. And he had a name. He called himself the Zodiac. The Zodiac's reign of terror had begun, and California would never be the same. The public was gripped by fear, and the police were left with more questions than answers. The Zodiac was no ordinary killer. He was a shadow, a symbol, and a challenge. The mystery was just beginning. The Golden State would never forget the name Zodiac. The darkness had a new face. The Zodiac's letters were taunting, arrogant, and chilling. He demanded his words be published or he'd kill again. Each letter included a piece of a cipher, a secret code he claimed hid his identity. The Bay Area held its breath as newspapers published the ciphers. Code breakers and citizens raced to solve the puzzle. Within a week, a teacher and his wife cracked it. But the message wasn't a confession. It was a disturbing rant about the thrill of killing and collecting slaves for the afterlife. No name, no answers, just more fear. The Zodiac was a manipulator, thriving on attention and terror. He sent more ciphers, some unsolved to this day. He mailed a piece of a victim's bloody shirt to prove his identity. He drew bomb diagrams, mocked police, and taunted the public. Each letter was a new wave of fear. The Zodiac wasn't just a murderer, he was a master of psychological warfare. He used the mail and the media as his weapons. The public was his audience, and terror was his message. The Zodiac's campaign of fear was only just beginning. California was under siege by a killer who craved the spotlight. The Zodiac escalated. On September 27, 1969, at Lake Berryessa, a hooded man with a crosshair symbol tied up Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, then stabbed them. He calmly called police to confess. Cecilia died. Brian survived to describe the terrifying encounter. 2 weeks later, in San Francisco, cab driver Paul Stein was shot by a passenger in Presidio Heights. The killer took Stein's wallet, keys, and a piece of his shirt. Police saw a man leaving the scene but let him go, believing he didn't match the suspect's description, a mistake that would haunt them. Soon after, the Chronicle received a letter with Stein's bloody shirt and a new threat. The Zodiac would target a school bus. Panic swept the city. Police escorted buses, and children were taught to zigzag if they had to run. The Zodiac had turned fear into a weapon, holding San Francisco hostage. He was no longer just a shadow. He was a real-life boogeyman. The city was gripped by terror, and the Zodiac reveled in it. The police were desperate, but the killer always seemed one step ahead. The Zodiac's legend grew with every attack, every letter, every taunt. He had become a symbol of fear, and no one felt safe. The Zodiac's reign of terror was relentless. The public demanded answers, but the mystery only deepened. The killer's identity remained hidden, his motives a chilling enigma. The Zodiac had changed California forever. The nightmare was far from over. The hunt for the Zodiac was just beginning. The Zodiac investigation became one of California's largest. Police had suspects, evidence, and thousands of tips, but no solid answers. Arthur Lee Allen emerged as a prime suspect. He lived near the first attacks, wore a Zodiac watch, and matched some descriptions, but his fingerprints and DNA didn't match the evidence, and he denied everything. Other suspects were investigated and cleared or left in limbo. The Zodiac had committed the perfect crime, leaving a puzzle no one could solve. He remained a ghost, always out of reach. The Zodiac's letters stopped in the late 1970s, but the mystery never faded. The case became legend, drawing generations of investigators and amateur sleuths. Modern technology brought new hope, old ciphers were cracked, but the killer's name stayed hidden. The Zodiac's taunts still echo, fueling the search for answers. The case remains open, a story without an ending. Who was the Zodiac? Arthur Lee Allen? Someone else? We may never know. The Zodiac is a chilling reminder that some mysteries endure. The shadow he casts still lingers over California.